Do you have any idea what time it is?
Can you say mama? Mama? Mama. Open big wide, mama. What a big boy you are. What a big boy you are.
Okay. We can't go to church with jelly all over our face, can we? You go back in the hole right now.
Now I lay me down to sleep and pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord.
Hey, Mom. Mommy needs just a minute, please.
Hey Mom, I think you look pretty no matter what, even when your hair looks really weird.
Oh, Mom.
Go straight there and come right back.
Mom, Dad, I asked Beth to marry me.
Well, what'd she say? Hey, Mom.
Where's that red baby?
Oh, yeah, nice to see you too.
You did great.
What's that?
Children. Really great. I always knew you'd be a good dad. You really.
Mom, what are you doing? Of course you are.
Come sit with me.
You know, I was thinking this the other day about what a wonderful mom you are. I mean, God really blessed me with a great lady. You're my mom. You've always been there for me. Even when I didn't want you to be. And nobody ever believed in me like you do. Thank you. I love you, Mom.
And I love you, son.
again, happy Mother's Day. It's kind of a tearjerker in a way because if you're like me, my mother had passed away when I was 14, so I really, a lot of the memories I have were not great memories, but my grandma, my little granny, she was my mom. And so I kind of feel that. I don't know about you, but thank God for the Bible reading grandmas and that. So we got a buzz up here. You guys, can you get that? There, thank you, Danny. They're awesome. They're awesome. She's got to have like 6 hands back there, like as do all mothers, right? I've often said if evolution is true, why don't mothers, when they only still have 2 hands? I really should be evolved a little bit. Anyway, you know what? I told my daughter a while back, I said, you know, Beck, you could have, and Janelle, same thing. There are 2 different planes of life right now, but I told Becky, I said, you know, honey, you have the brain to be anything you want to be in life. You could have been a brain surgeon, a lawyer, you could have been anything. But you chose the highest calling in the world. You chose to be a mom. And so, you know what? God bless you, you know. And somebody has said that that parenthood is actually hereditary. That if your parents didn't have children, there's a good chance you probably won't either. Okay, somebody's going to go get that in a minute. Years ago, there was a Mother's Day card. I love this card. And on the front of it, it says, "Dear Mom, I'll never forget that wonderful little prayer you always said for me." You open it up and it says, "God help you if you ever do that again." I don't know if you've ever heard that. I've heard that a few times in my life. So, at any rate, throw up that first slide, Hannah, just because this is kind of comical. I think this is kind of cute. Yeah. There's now I'm going to tell you some funny things here, and as I do, I'm going to throw up a couple pictures here that are 2 of them are my kids when they were little, and this just kind of goes along with what I'm going to tell you. It's called "The Things That I've Learned from Raising Kids." It was written by Colleen Swindoll, Chuck Swindoll's daughter. And so if you'll put up that first one there, this is my daughter Becky. We call her Ragamuffin because we put pretty little ribbons in her hair and make her so pretty and all this. And then now you know her now as this gorgeous little mother, but that was the hardest child in the world to keep looking like a little girl. Ribbons came out in 5 minutes time, the ribbons were gone. I mean, it was, you know, but so this kind of goes along with what I'm going to read to you here. Let's get another one real quick, the next one. This is my boys. Bud monsters. Boy, can I tell some stories. And this is just one capturing moment, but so as I read these, you'll kind of relate to this. The things that I've learned from raising kids. A king-size waterbed holds enough water to fill a 2,000-foot square home for 4 inches deep. If you spray hairspray on dust bunnies and run over them with rollerblades, they can't ignite. If you hook a dog leash over a ceiling fan, the motor is not strong enough to rotate a 42-pound boy wearing Batman underwear and a Superman cape. It is strong enough, however, to spread paint on all 4 walls of a 20 by 20-foot room. That one's not my kids, but they've done it. Trust me. You should not throw baseballs up at a ceiling fan when it's on. Glass windows, even double panel, don't stop a baseball hit by a ceiling fan. When you hear the toilet flush and you hear the words, "uh-oh," it's already too late. More things we've learned from raising kids. Brake fluid mixed with Clorox makes smoke, and a lot of it. The first swimming pool for many children is the toilet. Certain Legos will pass through the entire digestive tract, or nickels, or whatever it is. Garbage bags do not make good parachutes. And this is probably one of my favorites, because I've seen my kids do this. We played hide and go seek, and this was one of their favorite hiding places. The spin cycle on the washing machine does not make earthworms dizzy. However, cats throw up twice their body weight when dizzy. All right, that's inappropriate for church. This is a religious meeting. One more funny one for you. Show me the next one. This is great. I always said that about my grandpa. You know, my grandpa loved me a lot. He taught me how to swim. He took me out in the middle of the lake one time and dropped me off and just dumped me out of the boat, you know, to make me swim back. And it wasn't too bad once I got out of that gunny sack. You know, Go ahead and put up the next one. Hannah, this is we have a couple of definitions for mothers. And then the next one. That one's actually a little bit of a tearjerker for me. I don't know about you, but that's the way my grandma loved me. Mamas, you have, I don't think you understand the impact that you have in this life upon children, your grandchildren. There was a skeptic. His name was Robert Ingersoll, and he was a big atheist. And so he was on this college campus, and he was speaking to this group of college kids, and he said, when he got done, you know, orating or whatever it was he was doing, and when he left, these two college boys were walking down the sidewalk, and he said, "Boy, old Ingersoll just flattened Christianity today, didn't he?" He goes, "No, he really didn't." And he goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "He can't explain my mother's life. And until he can explain my mother's life, I'll believe in my mother's God." It's powerful. That's the kind of impact you have. There were 4 ministers, and they were standing around talking about which version of the Bible they liked best. They were just, you know, one of them said, "I like the King James Bible the best." And another one said, "Well, you know, I like the poetic flow and the old-fashionedness of the King James Bible, but personally I like the American Standard Version because it kind of fits closer to the Scriptures. I mean, the actual meaning of the Scriptures." And the other one said, "Well, I like the easiness of the NIV, the New International Version." And they looked at the other old minister and they said, "What about you?" And he said, "I like my mother's version best." And they said, "Well, what was that?" He goes, "My mother's version was she lived the Bible in her everyday life. I can't find a better translation of the Bible than my mother's." That's the impact that you have as a mom. I mean, our kids, you know, I'm watching this, they're showing the Bibles and mama reading the Bible and stuff, and I don't think we realize just how huge that really is. Listen to these quotes. This is some things some other people have said about it. "Of all remedies, a good mother," we will get into the word here in a second. "Of all remedies, a good mother is the best. There is no modern pain medicine as effective as a mother's kiss. An ounce of mother is worth far more than a ton of clergy or counselors." Isn't that right? Even some of you that are older, when you're sick, you just want mom. Just wish I had my mom. It doesn't matter how old you are. Just wish I had my mom's love. Abraham Lincoln said, "The greatest lessons I ever learned were my mother's knee." One person said, "History shows that the greatest workers for God and most successful have godly mothers." This is true. I mean, if you look at all the people that really had an effect in Christianity or whatever, and made an impact on the world, they all had a good mother behind them. This is an interesting, and when it talks about the creation of a woman, it says that God made, in Genesis, God made a man, but he fashioned a woman. As I look around, pretty easy to me to see that God made a man and he fashioned a woman, right? You know, so if you stop to think about what is fashion, you know, fashion is something that has snap and class and poise and shape, and if you make something style, if you make something, you know, man's it's like a block, you know. But then if you fashion it into something, it's fashioned, and so the Bible is very careful to mention that he's made, she's fashioned, and I think that's really cool. But there was a man that actually did, in his book, Thinking Man's Guide to Pro Football, Paul Zimmerman said this, quoting a physicist, all right? A person who actually checked the impact between 240-pound men, right? One 240-pound man hits another 240-pound man full speed. The force is 33 tons or 66,000 pounds of pressure per square inch. That's why that little boy gets his, I don't know how they get up sometimes. 66,000 pounds per square inch. You go, man, that's some impact. But what I want to suggest to you this morning is that doesn't even come close to the impact of a mother. Not even close. Listen to this. There's a little boy. I thought this was a cute story. This little boy kind of invades a lingerie department. And he comes in, and the lady says, "Can I help you, little fella?" He said, "Yes, I want to buy something for my mom. I want to buy her a slip for Mother's Day. But I don't know what size she is." And she goes, "Well, is she tall or short? Is she skinny or fat?" He said, "She's perfect." And she said, "Okay." And so she gave her a size 8. Or gave the little boy a size 8. Took it home. 2 weeks later, she exchanged it for a size 52. But she was perfect. In his mind, it didn't matter. She was perfect. Where do we lose that in our lives? You ever notice we kind of lose this factor, and we put so much on things and certain things. Now, we're going to get our cows over their buckets here, and we're going to get into the word here a little bit, because I just want to share a couple principles from this. If you look in your bulletin, there's 5 things. I'm going to give them to you quickly this morning. 5 things that we're going to use. We're called these 5 cheers from others. By the way, the title of the message today is Hats Off to Moms and Grandmas. Okay? Hats off. And I still think, by the way, that men should take their hats off in the presence of a lady, or when they meet somebody new. I'm just kind of old-fashioned that way, I guess. But whatever happened to the time when, the lady stood up at the table and all the men stood up? Remember this? Or, you're like, boy, that's even before your time. It is, but I appreciate that. When they stood up like skinhead Marines and showed that kind of respect. Our society, our culture is really not in favor of parenting or motherhood, and it's under attack. It's under a major, major attack. And we want more and more rights and more stuff. And in taking away and trying to give them some rights, they've lost one of the greatest rights in getting to just be their mom. Be the woman that God created to be, and be a mom. Somebody said, woe to the home where the hidden crows louder than the rooster, right? Or my dad used to say, some men are so henpecked they have to roost at the foot of the bed every night. Pretty good. But that's the way our society, that's what they're doing. They're making it so that it's this way, and that we have domineering people because of it. Listen to this verse. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1 through 3. This is actually quoting Exodus 20, verse 12. It says, "Children, obey your parents, because you belong to the Lord, for this is the right thing to do." Because you belong to the Lord, this is the right thing to do. "Honor your father and your mother." Now watch this. "This is the first commandment with a promise." It was in Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. It's the 5th commandment. But out of the 10 commandments, it's the 5th one. "This is the first commandment with a promise. If you honor your father and your mother, things will go well with you, and you will have a long life on the earth." And you've heard me say recently that the long life to me, we're doing all kinds of stuff. We go out and we drink our milkshakes and we run our laps and we work out, and that's all good. We're trying to live a longer life and a healthier life, but the problem is the Bible has the plan for long life and having it go well with you. And that is honor your father and your mother. Doesn't matter if you're under their roof, are you still honoring them even now? Because God says to honor them. He didn't put an age limit on it. There is no statute of limitation. It's just honor your father and your mother. So if you want a long life and you want it to go well with you, keep working out, but this is God's plan. This is how God says to make it happen. So how do we do this? How do we show honor? So I'm going to just give you 5 real practical things real quickly that I think will help us show this respect and this honor to our parents, but especially our moms today. All right? Give her affirmation. That's number 1 in your bulletin, the first A. Give her affirmation. It is Proverbs 31:28. Her children rise up and bless her. Her husband also, and he praises her. Now, this is like a public declaration of she's got it going on. This is our mom. This is we praise her. Have you praised her? Do you praise your mom publicly, or is it like, oh? We get to a certain place in our lives, and that's where we go. And we feel a little bit like they're a little bit more of they're stupid, they're inconvenient, you guys are all saying, bring the kids back in here. Can we get the kids, we want them to hear this, right? Look, we've all been there. We've all been there. This is an interesting thought. In saying that we should honor our father and mother, here's Jesus on the cross. And as he's on the cross, he has 7 last phrases that he uses. But one of those phrases, the third one, the first one was, forgive them for they don't know what they're doing. The second one was assuring the thief on the cross that you're going to be in paradise with me. And the third thing that he said when he was on the cross was, John, this is our mom. You're in charge of her. Basically, I have a feeling that Jesus showed such honor and took care of her and watched over her and protected her because he knew what it meant to honor her. And I think he did. And now he knew it was time for him to bug out. And so he was handing her to John and saying, John, behold your mom. Mom, behold your son. This is now the one, I'm giving him the reins. He's taking over. But while he's dying, he's thinking about his mother. Mom, they want to make sure she's okay. That to me is really, really cool. So, give her affirmation. And I think that goes beyond Mother's Day. Like giving a Mother's Day card, that's nice. Giving her a flower, that's nice. But it goes beyond that. Like when was the last time we sat down and wrote a letter to our mom? And you say, well, I can't find Joe. Well, you know, Cynthia and I one time went out, both of us lost our dads early. And we went out one time and sat down by a creek, and we both wrote, it took about an hour, and we wrote a letter to our fathers. Stuck them in a bottle and sealed it up and threw it in the river. And just because it was therapy for us to write a letter to our dads. You can write a letter if she's going, right? I think it's very important. I did this when my grandma was alive. Boy, I'll tell you what, there was a time in my life when I hated her. Now come on, don't look pious, because there was times when you thought they were jerks too. And I thought she was stupid, it was like, Granny, that she needs to get a clue, right? And, but anyway, as I got older, and Grandma got smarter, as I got older, I don't know how that happened. But Granny, and she got so much smarter. But I sat down one day and I just wrote a letter. And I wrote a letter to her, telling her how many times I appreciated her correction, her discipline, asked her to forgive me for not listening to her when I should have, and the mistakes I made. And then I let her know that one of the biggest reasons that I came to Jesus Christ was because of her bouncing me on her knee and reading Bible stories to me. And I let her know that. So, when was the last time you did that? That's how you honor Mom. You affirm her, show her, make it go beyond the card a little bit. You say, well, she knows I love her, I told her. That's like the guy that says, we've been married 40 years, I told her we got married, loved her the day we got married. I know people like that. That's the way they actually are. Boy, what a bad thing. Listen to this poem. No occupation. She rises up at the break of day, and through her tasks she races. She cooks the meals as best she can and scrubs the children's faces. While school books, lunches, homework too, all need consideration, and yet the tax man says and insists that she has no occupation. When breakfast dishes are done, she bakes a pudding, maybe, and then she cleans the rooms up one by one, and then with one eye watching the baby, the mending pile she then attacks by way of variation. And yet the taxman insists she has no occupation. She irons for a little while, she presses pants for daddy, she welcomes with a cheery smile, returning lass and laddie. A hearty dinner next she cooks, no time for relaxation, and yet the taxman insists that she has no occupation. Second thing, give her affection. Let's go to the next slide. Give her affection. I'm going to show you something here. This is cool. If we had a fire in our house, Cynthia would grab this before she grabs me. I believe it. Wouldn't you? Because you don't even know what it is. I haven't told her what it is. This is her most prized possession. It really is. Out of all the things that she's ever been given, this is her most prized possession. What was he, 6th grade? Jacob was in 6th grade. 6th grade, he said, I want to make her a jewelry box. So he went and he made a jewelry box. Now you should see the stuff he makes now. It would make this thing look like a piece of junk. Because everything he makes now is beautiful and airtight and routed and all that. But this was his jewelry box that he made for Cynthia. It's even in lined with felt. And brings tears to your eyes, doesn't it? Because I remember he built it. Look at that, airtight. Boy. But this means more to her than anything that she's ever been given. And this is the kind of thing, when you talk about affection, it doesn't just mean give her a hug and that. It means every once in a while, go the extra mile and do a little extra something. We need to be teaching our kids and our grandkids to do that stuff. That's very important for us as fathers and grandfathers. We need to teach them how to affirm the mother and the grandmother. You know, I was just thinking this morning too about my own grandmother. You know, even when they get a little older and cranky and senile and hard of hearing, we still need to show affection. It's hard. When they get to that point, it's hard. When they're snapping your head off for nothing. And I think, you know, there's going to be a time when I'm going to be there. And I'm sure going to hope that people are patient with me. You know, and so think about this. You know, and make some, in terms of affection, make some memories with these mothers and grandmothers. I remember my grandma and I, we used to swing dance. Boy, could Granny cut a rug. She'd say, come on, Marky, let's spank the planks. And so I'd say, all right, and we'd get up, and she'd throw on the music, and I don't remember what it was, but we would flat get, and she taught me how to swing dance, and I could swing dance. But she'd throw me all over that house, and she was a teeny little thing. I remember throwing herself in my lap, and she would do this funny little drunk impression. And she would say, startle, startle, little twink. Who you are, me think. I'm not under the alkafluence of alcohol, though some of you think will peep I am. I fool so foolish I don't know whom he's it, and the drunker I sit here, the longer I get. Yes, it's silly. So what? That's one of my fondest memories of her. She was just being silly. Now look, she loved the Lord, but she would have fun in life, and there's an armory side to me. There's a you know. What? I got it from Granny. Now, there's kind of a rough and tough side. That was my dad. But from Granny, I got a kind of a feisty, fun enjoyment of life. And you know what? You get that by enjoying them, showing affection, make memories with them right now while you have them. And if they're gone, you can remember those. Thank God, memory is one gift of God that death cannot destroy. You have that forever. Now, I also want to be sensitive this morning, because I haven't really said this, and I want to say this. I know there are some who have either lost their mom, and this is very tender time, because you've lost them recently. There are some who want to have a child, and they can't. And I'm aware of that. And I know that's a pain that goes beyond anything that anybody can understand. God can make a way, and He has done this before in people's lives. But you know what? God cares about those hearts. And so God is, He has ways of changing things around. And you've heard me say this probably once, if you've heard me tell it 1,000 times, it's dead noses smell no roses. Give them now. We have this moment to hold in our hands as it slips through our fingers like sand. Yesterday's gone and tomorrow may never come. But we have this moment today. So don't look back tomorrow and wish for today. We have this moment to hold in our hands. Today. And you know what? Mother's Day is not just today. Mother's Day should be, and when it says their children rise up and call her blessed, they don't mean Mother's Day. Once a year the kids rise up and say, boy, Mom, you're a great mom, then off about their business. It means it was a daily practice to put God first God first by putting Mom, honoring Mom, and putting her in a high position. All right, third thing, give her acknowledgement. Now, some of these might seem redundant. They're not. Okay? Give her acknowledgement. Okay? And by this, I mean respect, honor, respect. It's like I said, why do we lose that whole thing of we take our hat off for them, or we honor them by the way that we respond to things. And by the way, only perfect children can expect perfect parents. And vice versa. Only perfect parents can expect perfect kids. God loves us. I thank God He's not the God of a second chance. I'll hear people say that. Thank God He's the God of a second chance. You know how I know He's not? Because I'm on my 10 millionth chance. And thank God for His patience for us. Look at this verse, Colossians 3:20. Children, be obedient to your parents in all things, for this is well-pleasing to the Lord. So So heed their counsel. This is what honors a mom, is when you heed her counsel, all right? Okay, listen to this one, and I'm about ready to close her up. Dear Mom, this is a letter that was written, and Chuck Swindoll has this in his book called A Strong Family. And he says, he wants you to write a letter to your mom, and he says, let me just prime the pump. Here's a few things that you can put down. As I walk through the museum of my memories, I owe you for your time, day and night. I owe you for your example, consistent and dependable. I owe you for your support, stimulating and challenging. Mom, I owe you for your humor, sparky and quick. I owe you for your counsel, wise and quiet. I owe you, Mom, for your humility, genuine and gracious. I owe you for your hospitality, smiling and warm. I owe you for your insight, keen and honest. I owe you, Mom, for your your flexibility, patient and joyful. Your sacrifices, numerous and quickly forgotten. Solid and sure, your faith. For your hope, ceaseless and indestructible. And for your love, which is devoted and deep. There's a story about a man, you might have heard this, but a man comes home, and when he gets home, he sees the house torn to 1,000 pieces. I mean, he gets there, the door on the car is open, the kids are out in the yard playing, nobody's around, the dogs are running around, the sprinklers are getting ripped out. He goes into the house and it looks like 10 burglars stepped in there. And things are scattered everywhere. Look at it, it's like this. He gets home, he's starting to get concerned because the house is absolutely trashed. He goes upstairs, water is running from the bathroom, and there's toothpaste all over the mirrors, and little handprints of peanut butter all over the carpet and the dogs and everything else. And there lays his wife curled up in bed with a book, reading it on. And he says, what in the world went on here today? And she said, well, you know when you always come home every day and you ask me, what in the world did you do today? She said, today I just didn't do it. Well, there you are. You know, by the way, for kids, I would tell them when they say, get off my back, to parents, just get off my back. As you get older, you're going to find out that they are the only ones who have your back. Our parents are really the only ones who have it. No matter what happens, no matter how bad you fail, they're the ones that have our backs. So be careful when you tell them, get off your back. Irma Bombeck, dear old Irma Bombeck, she said this, when my kids become wild and unruly, I just use a nice, safe playpen. When they're done, I climb out. Somebody else said, I love to play hide and seek with my kids, but some days, my goal is to find a hiding place where I can hide out until after high school. Fourth thing, give her attention. And by attention, I mean give her quality time. Not just, a nod of the head, but quality time. When was the last time that you really sat down with mom or grandma and really looked them straight in the eye and had a conversation? A good, deep conversation about life. Love and appreciation of the things that she does and has done, and you know what? They never outgrow that. They never outgrow needing that. I mean, I as a father know. Those are important things. But give her undivided, uninterrupted. This is not showing honor. Yeah, Mom. Yeah, right. And this is what I see today. I see this is how we honor Mom or Dad. Okay? And so it's like, you know what? Eyes front, man. Show some honor, show some respect. Really listen to her. Listen to her heart. Not just her words, but listen to her heart. Because she might be saying something a whole lot deeper. The next thing is, but make sure when you're giving that attention, we remember that that's also for when they're older. And I've got a couple of pictures here that I think is kind of cool. And I've seen this year, Joan with you and Pat and with your mom, and you brought her in and stuff. You know what, for some reason, and this is everybody's own personal opinion on how you handle them when they're older and how you love them.